I love books. I also love movies. And some of the movies I like are based on books. Actually, quite a few of them are. I know the phrase, the book was better, gets thrown around a lot by bookies, but that's usually safe for movies that are generally pretty shitty. What about the movies that are actually good? What happens when you take a book and turn it into peak cinema? Does the book need to be a bestseller in order to make a good movie? And does the movie have to be faithful to be considered a good adaptation? Let's find out. Hi, hello! I'm Rune, and because I seem to have nothing better to do with my life, I am starting a YouTube series where I read the original books of my favorite films and discuss the questions I asked earlier, all from the perspective of an avid reader who loves movies. Since this is going to be a long series, currently looking at 35 possible stories, I think it prudent to lay down the ground rules and criteria for this series of what movies and books I'll be covering because I don't want to have to repeat myself every single video. So if you're in my comment section or in my chat and you get linked to this video, you asked a silly question, Boopsie. Number 1, because it's the most important, this series will only include movies I watched before reading the book. Like I said, I want this to be from the perspective of a, I know the word is called cinemaphile, but that's just a weird word to say, so I'm just going to say film fan. So unfortunately, based on that criteria alone, the Narnia series and Watership Down will not be covered in this series. As much as I love those movies and book, they do not fit here for our purposes. Now that does not mean I might not talk about them later, but that's a different question. Number 2, this series will be excluding comic book movies as I am looking for movies that have a singular source material with a centralized plot. So we can all give a sigh of relief and cry a little bit that I will not be talking about the MCU or Dread. However, I may include movies that were based on graphic novels, as they're not the same as comics, but I only have, like, one of those on my list so far. Stay tuned. Number 3, on the flip side, I will be including TV shows and miniseries that were based on a single book because of the singular source material criteria. Granted, there's only like 2 or 3 of them on my list so far. 4, because I hate myself apparently, I will be including trilogies and such. However, the installments may be spread out a little bit more. Give a chick a chance to actually breathe in between projects. And there is one movie trilogy that I will be including that was based on a book. I am including The Hobbit purely out of spite. And number 5, I will only be discussing the books of movies that I actually like. Technically, it's the second most important criteria for this list, however, I wanted to really drive this one home. So if I don't cover a series that was based on a book, it's either because I didn't like it, or I haven't watched it yet. You decide. This last one really isn't a disclaimer, just a preface, but these videos are going to be few and far between. Some of these books are over 500 pages long, and I am researching, scripting, illustrating, and editing every video by myself from scratch. That takes a while. So there! I laid it all out plain and simple. Even flashed the list on screen. I guess the only actual disclaimer I have in this disclaimer video is I have not worked in the film industry, nor am I a published author, so my insight in this series is from the outside until one day when I change that. So if I see any comments or people in my chat asking, "Where's this video? When you gonna read this book? Why is it taking so long?" or any actuallys, you will promptly be linked to this video and your name will be written in the minor inconvenience note. Hope you enjoy stubbing your pinky toe, noob master. Anyway, this is going to be a long journey ahead of us, and I hope you decide to stick around for the ride while I descend into psychosis. So let me get this straight. We got an ongoing webcomic at 2 pages a week.
Yep.
Several other original series that are being written simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stream on Twitch more, art fight, additional YouTube videos, and Friday live streams.
May have to limit those.
And now, you want to add a movie book review series, including books that are up to 1,000 pages, all while having real-life chores and what is essentially a part-time job in the family garden, along with, of course, exercise, eating healthy, and getting 8 hours of sleep.
That's about the size of it.
We're gonna need a bigger coffee pot.